In a stunning turn of events, despite the fact that in past years, ESPN has been a hyper-partisan political organization, over the last week, they've remained relatively quiet about the election of Donald Trump, and there's a reason for that. Because the bosses at ESPN said none of this stuff. Don't talk about it on air. Focus on sports. Stick to sports. Almost like that would have been a good idea for the past decade. But nevertheless, there are still some people at ESPN that need to air their grievances. Well, not on air, some of them on social media. And one of those people includes Ryan Clark. Super Bowl champ Ryan Clark says he has no plans to respect Donald Trump. And it's interesting because this comes after what I saw the day after the election. I was a little bit surprised because Ryan Clark actually put out a tweet that I thought was, hey, okay, I think that's very respectable. One of the beautiful things about America is democracy. Many have fought and died for our right to choose our leadership. I was blessed to exercise that right again in 2024. The majority has spoken and Donald Trump is our president. I will respect him and his office as such. Apparently, for Ryan Clark, he got a little backlash for that. Maybe a little backlash from the black community who was upset that he wasn't raging and upset about all these things, and he's decided to change his tune a little bit. And he put out a 3-minute video. I guess we should get to this, shouldn't we? We should just let Ryan Clark speak for himself, even though he already spoke and said, I'm going to respect everybody after this. Then he's like, nah, fuck that. Too many black people are upset at me for saying that I might respect Donald Trump, so I'm going to flip the script.
I've had a couple of days to digest the election, and right afterwards, I put out a tweet saying that I respect President Trump as the president and his office. And there was a lot of pushback from my community on social. I voted.
From my community, meaning black people. Black people were upset at Ryan Clark that he said something like that.
For Kamala Harris, but it reminded me of how divisive this country had gotten, how divisive this election had gotten. When did the side that candidate won feel like they won the Super Bowl? When did they brag about it? When did they boast about it? When did they throw it in your face because it was just their guy, not our guy? Or
this is just a social media thing. That's what this is. When did all this happen? Social media is when you started hearing these things and like a lot of it. Whereas before you might go into work and people aren't necessarily going to like inflame tensions at work or anything like that. But the idea that people would be happy that their side won and people would be upset that their side lost all throughout the course of history. What are you fucking talking about, Ryan Clark? Football pundit Ryan Clark?
On the other side, the sadness, the depression, people truly thinking about this not being a place that they could live. Even my oldest daughter, who was visiting my parents, told me at 7 a.m. she got up and she just laid in the bed with my mother and cried. Started when we wanted to make America great again, but wasn't it before? I felt like it was the greatest it had ever been. For 8 years, President Obama represented us with class and with grace and with elegance and with decency. There were no scandals. There were
no scandals under President Obama. And this is a difference. Maybe about half the country feels the same way you do, Ryan Clark, that, oh my gosh, President Obama is just so wonderful and so amazing. There were never any problems. He was the greatest ever. About half the country feels the exact opposite. Like he was one of the most divisive presidents in history. When a lot of this racial bullshit, these tensions that hadn't been there in decades, all of a sudden flamed up because he specifically pushed them. And like, what are you talking about? Should we not talk about Operation Fast and Furious? Should we not talk about Benghazi? Should we not talk about the death of Americans at the hands of drone strikes? Like, there are so many things we can list under the Obama administration that were scandals, but no, you just thought it was amazing.
There were no impeachments. There were no felony charges. There were no indictments. There were none of these things that are unbecoming of the office. And we elected someone that ran a campaign based in bigotry and based in hate. And for those 4 years, it wasn't great. And
So you want to know why, oh, it's so divisive? No, it's because people like you, retards like you, are spreading lies. A campaign based on bigotry and hate? Go fuck yourself. Clearly, that's not the case, and the majority of people understand that. But some people in your community got upset with you for daring to say you'd respect the outcome of the election, and you have to put out this video.
16, I remember someone sitting in that office calling people that peacefully protested sons of bitches. And then 2020, in his last year, it wasn't about just COVID to me. It was the most divided this country had ever been. And then now to have people.
Yes, because people pretended like career criminals and thugs should be held up as saviors and saints. The summer of love. And it's also one of the things that infected sports and turned so many people away from sports, which is what you're supposed to be focusing on. But instead, it's this from ESPN's Ryan Clark.
Will tell me, well, he pardoned Kodak. Yeah, he pardoned your favorite rappers, so he became your favorite rapper's favorite politician. Does that make us forget that 4 black boys and 1 brown boy who didn't commit a crime, he took an ad out for them to receive the death penalty? And even when they were exonerated, he doubled down on it. And what's changed in this campaign? It's still the same sort of bigotry. It's still the same sort of speech. I think now the difficult part is I do understand that not everyone that supports him believes in his rhetoric. Not everyone that supports him thinks bigotry is okay. They've told me that he believes in Christian values. And it said God gave us grace for the salvation of all. For me, I'll give him that grace because I do want salvation for all people. It's going to be forever hard to respect the man. And I don't, and I won't. But I will respect the office. I want to be a sane man in an insane society. I want to be a reasonable man in an unreasonable world. So I won't be divisive. But I do hope, for all of our sakes, he understands that he's our president.
This is so gay, right? There was nothing wrong with what Ryan Clark said before at all. Hey, you know, the person I voted for, they lost, but hey, we're a country united. I'm going to respect the man, respect the presidency. And because a handful of upset woke black people in the comments pushed back on you, you felt the need to do this big video explaining everything and telling more lies about Donald Trump and all this shit. ESPN, I will give them credit. For the most part, they've stayed away from this stuff like they should. But some of the people that are working there, like Ryan Clark, despite initially saying there's nothing wrong with the statement he put out there, despite all of this shit, here we go. Ryan Clark has to bend the knee because he was too nice to President Trump for some of his followers. What a joke. What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments section below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.